EverQuest is a classic MMORPG, and nostalgia has mostly kept it alive for all these years. But there comes a point where they will need to push it further if they want to survive. Today, I want to talk about how EverQuest can survive as a franchise that we all love and enjoy for many decades to come. There are some obvious paths it could take. Releasing an EverQuest 3 and refresh it with a new entry would be the most likely route that Daybreak and EG7 could take, but also there is the other often discussed way, which is remaking the original EverQuest with modern graphics and updated UI. Now, I've talked about that many times on the channel, both of these options, and although both of them sound fantastic, today I want to rather explore how to keep the actual original EverQuest alive as it exists today on live official servers. And to start this off, I want to look at the largest detractors from the game, and the first things that I hear new players always say that makes them pack up and leave the game, and that is the UI. The interface is horrendously outdated. From what I understand, now that they're on the 64-bit client, this is something they're looking at. First of all, a scalable UI would be great, but it needs a complete overhaul. In my opinion, getting rid of the advanced loot or overhaul it completely to be more understandable for someone new. EverQuest needs just a simple need before greed system, in my opinion. And another point I want to make, if you're remaking the UI anyway, make it look good. People spend a ton of time looking at the UI in these classic MMOs, and a nice, fresh, clean UI would go a long way. Of course, functionality is always the most important factor. There are so many graphical enhancements I think EverQuest needs on the UI. Most specifically, I think of that Microsoft Paint style map system. Sure, it gets the job done, but I think we deserve much better. Next, I want to talk about a smaller graphical overhaul for EverQuest. I don't mean a complete remake, although after time it could be that way, and that would be fan-freaking-tastic. I'm talking about updating, first of all, the player models, and then start updating the models for all the mobs, little by little. Look, I know this is a fantastic undertaking, but they need, and it deserves it. Do your best to retain the same artistic style, but just make them look anywhere near modern, or even up to 2004-ish standards would be a drastic improvement. Now, the key here is that the animations have to look good on these new models. You can't just slap the same animations on it. It will look really bad. After that, start redoing textures for the ground, for the various wall textures and the like, and before long, EverQuest could be looking old school good. Another feature that, in my opinion anyway, really wouldn't be all that hard to implement, but is something that horrendously outdates the game, is the fact that you can't properly sheath your weapon. We all run around with our weapon that we have equipped in our hands, and with new models, please add a sheath option. Us old school EverQuest fans overlook this, but it's something that fresh new eyes always notice, and it irks them to no end. Okay, now we are getting into some really meaty stuff here, and please understand that these are my opinions, and I am only thinking of keeping EverQuest relevant enough to survive the coming decade when I mention these next things. But another idea that would make a huge difference would be adding some cool new content to older zones. Make people want to roll alts and relive classic areas. Also, add some new bosses and quests and equipment and get people rolling through these nostalgic places and make new players see the wonder and splendor of the world right from the get-go. The old tactics of just being amazed at being online with other people is long past gone, and to show people the joys of Norath, I think adding additional content available for low-level characters would be fantastic. Now, all of these things would need to be balanced and tuned, and in order to do this and make the leveling up experience better for new players, I would also suggest a level squish and make level ups more meaningful again. Of course, there are things I'm talking about for regular EverQuest live servers and not necessarily for TLPs, but if we add additional content in a TLP special server like they always do a normal TLP and then they'll do a special server, I don't see the harm, but let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. Now, before I continue on, let's take a moment to thank the sponsors of this channel, the members of Napalm, and consider joining the channel to support this content. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to the members of Napalm. They have strapped on their armor and are casting the spells of awesome by supporting this channel and keeping me full-time every month. Thank you so very much. And I think you are interested in becoming a member. You can do so by clicking join down below this video and pick a level that is right for you. And I would like to give a very special thank you to the Lords of Napalm, Bounty Code, Jared Woodhouse, Daimlos, Farthest Reach, Sparrow, Christopher Hensel, Random Rob, Kenneth Kramer, Rodney Mom, Zelik Lived, Vander, Galerain Moonsong, what's the takeaway? Thank you for your highest tier membership. Now, I'm going to get a little crazy here. Look, I love the TLPs and have a lot of fun the first or 2 months of the release, and it sure does seem like these TLPs are the reason EverQuest has managed to keep subs going for a long time now, and I am not suggesting they stop. What I am going to suggest, though, is that they offer another type of server that is called Old School EverQuest. Yeah, that's right. Straight up rip off Old School RuneScape in that regard, and here's the crazy part. All the hard work is already done for you. I don't know how many devs work on the P99 servers, but snatch them babies up. Give them a wage and put it on live. That's right, I'm about to get punched right in the gut by the fans so hard by suggesting that P99 servers become official servers, but they are doing it so right. And there are a few thousand people that log into that every day to enjoy that classic experience, and it's not because it's free. Now, if you do this, here's the thing. Leave all the cash shop, all the Chronos, all that out of it. There is a separate server for old school fans. It doesn't get the graphic treatment I was talking about earlier. It doesn't get nothing like that. It remains how it is with the current team keeping it going. I see it as a win-win for keeping EverQuest alive for the foreseeable future. And I would like to mention that people trying or having to get their hands on the specific EverQuest version needed to play and install and run P99 detracts it from having the player base it would have if it were a simple install. And that is a fact, because I talk with people about that issue on the daily. Now, what you will have if you were to do all these things, Daybreak and EG7, is an updated, live, official, up-to-date EverQuest that drives in new players and all those thousands of people who would love to experience your NORAP. I talk to them all the time, but they cannot stand the old graphics or the outdated UI. You also will satisfy the old school EverQuest lovers who are accustomed to the janky UI and the old school graphics, and you have increased your revenue and bought yourself another decade or more of raking in cash flow to keep EverQuest alive. There is nothing more important to me than for EverQuest to exist and for new people to see its magic in its world, and I know that the developers would love nothing more than that as well. Leave me a comment down below of your ideas, what you think would help EverQuest survive in the future and would entice new players, or if you are that person, what holds you back? Let's have a nice discussion about it in the comments, and if you are new here, please consider subscribing for MMORPG content, because that's what we do all day every day, baby. And hit that like button for me, it helps a ton. And until next time, my Norathian friends, God bless and happy gaming.